Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Zach Nolan and I am the Athletic Director at Lapeer High School. I would like to thank you for inviting me here to speak on some of the most pressing issues facing interscholastic athletics here in Lapeer. Though there are many challenges facing high school athletics, the issues that I feel most passionately about is coaching evaluations. Fortunately, this is an issue that is well within our power to change. As you know, since we merged Lapeer East and Lapeer West in 2014, our school has become one of the largest in the state. We now have an enrollment of almost 1,500 students, more than 40% of whom play sports. As such, we have a great responsibility to ensure that we service our student athletes as best as we can to make sure that their involvement in athletics is leading to personal growth and enhancing our academic mission. And the best way to do that is to effectively and consistently evaluate our coaches on their ability to lead their teams with these goals in mind. So what's the problem? Why does this matter? Well, currently no form of coaching evaluations exists within the athletic department here at Lapeer High School. And that means that evaluating coaches, including deciding to terminate coaches, is solely based on wins and losses or any professional misconduct. The problem is, this method of evaluating coaches largely ignores the purpose of interscholastic athletics, which is to be an extension of the classroom that can provide the proper atmosphere for student athletes to become immersed and flourished, committed to cooperative goals larger than themselves and as individuals. Let us not forget, school sports are inherently educational, promoting through participation skills that cannot be taught via the formal curriculum. The life lessons taught through education-based athletics cannot be quantified on a written test. Sports required working together to overcome difficult individual or group challenges, maintaining perseverance, accepting defeat graciously, learning to sacrifice for others, and cooperatively pursuing victory. Moreover, high school sports participation is correlated with lower dropout rates, fewer discipline referrals, higher grade point averages, better graduation rates, and improved daily attendance when records of participants are compared with those of non-participants. Therefore, we should judge, assess, and reward our coaches based on successful implementation of educational components such as citizenship, life skills, learning, and sportsmanship, and not just wins and losses. To continue to arbitrarily evaluate our coaches is to do a tremendous disservice to all who are involved. It is not fair to our student athletes if their coaches are not facilitating this personal development, and it is not fair to our coaches if the expectations are not made clear to them. So how can we change our current process for the coaching evaluations? Well, I would like to propose an evaluation process consisting of 5 parts. This process would seek evaluations from athletes, parents, coaches themselves, myself, and from the perspective of academics and school behavior. Maybe the most important perspective of a coach's performance is from the student athletes. They are the ones who can most accurately describe the ways in which they are impacted by their coaches. As such, an evaluation form will be available at each team's banquet at the conclusion of the season. They will not be required, but they will be strongly encouraged. I provided each of you with a copy of the evaluation form. Each of the questions are derived from the AppHeard coaching domains, which clearly define the competencies coaches should have in education-based athletics. Additionally, answers will be measured on a Likert scale for statistical purposes. An example of an item would be questions and statements as follows. My coach encouraged the team to balance academic requirements, sports, and other obligations. Possible answers would include strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, neither agree or disagree, somewhat agree, or strongly agree. The next perspective that is important to consider is that of the parent. Though emotions from the season may sway their answers, how they perceive coaches impact their children is very important. These evaluations will be very similar to athlete evaluations and will also be available at banquets. They will also be sent electronically via email. An example item may be, the coach provided essential program information regarding the sports season. Again, possible answers would include strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, neither agree or disagree, somewhat agree, or strongly agree. Just like what assistant principals do with teachers, I will observe our coaches at games and practices throughout the season. At practices, I will evaluate how drills are organized, if the practice space is being utilized to the best advantage, how the coaches interact with athletes, are they being positive, reassuring, or encouraging, and are the coaches prepared to handle injuries and emergencies, and are they submitting eligibility forms on time. These are just a few things I'll be looking for. Other items will be included in an evaluation form as well. After my evaluation is complete, I will write an evaluation narrative that will provide clear, specific recommendations for improvement. In addition to the evaluations done by myself, I will also have coaches evaluate themselves using the same form that I use. Completing self-evaluations gives the coaches and coaching staff an opportunity to tell me how they think they performed. This suggests that process is a two-way street and that coaches' opinions also count. Finally, and most importantly, coaches will be evaluated based on how their players perform and behave in the classroom. Therefore, their players will be compared to non-participant population as it pertains to discipline referrals, grade point averages, and daily attendance. If coaches are focusing on their players' performance off the field, these numbers should be higher than the averages of non-participants. Okay then, what do we do with all these evaluations? Well, contrary to belief of some, coaching evaluations should not exist solely to provide the basis of determination of coaches. Instead, coaching evaluations should serve as the blueprint for professional growth and improvement. They should also highlight a coach's positive accomplishments. Therefore, coaches that receive satisfactory marks or higher on all 5 evaluations will be eligible for a bonus that will consist of 10% of all fundraised monies for that sport. This will not come from the general fund and therefore will not take away from other student athletes. Instead, it will reinforce the coaching behaviors that led to the personal development of their student athletes. Additionally, it will also increase incentive for coaches to raise more money for their programs. On the flip side, if coaches receive unsatisfactory marks in more than one evaluation, they will be placed on an extensive mentoring and professional development program. This program will include thorough evaluation process that provides specific, concrete recommendations for improvement. If coaches do not show growth from season to season, they may be subject to termination. So to recap, in its current state, the athletic department does not utilize coaching evaluations. This creates an ambiguity about the expectations of our coaches. Therefore, coaches assume that winning is the only thing that matters. They then develop behaviors and tendencies aimed at winning, even to the detriment of their student athletes. However, by introducing this new system for evaluating coaches, there will be more clarity about what is to be expected of coaches, which is facilitating the personal growth of their student athletes. These coaching evaluations are not based on wins, but leadership. The main purpose of the evaluation process is to provide a blueprint for improvement for all coaches. Even very good coaches may have something to learn, and they should always work to continually improve. Finally, the evaluation process will involve a dialogue so the coach is better able to provide the optimal environment for the student athletes. Fortunately for the board, I'm not requesting funding or resources for anything. In fact, I am creating more work for myself. I'm simply asking for your support in this endeavor that I believe will drastically increase the quality of our coaches and enhance the academic mission of this institution. Again, thank you for taking the time to hear me out. I look forward to speaking with you further and look forward to improving our athletic program.